Hey Internet, it's RJ. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning into this show today. Now, today's episode, we are taking a look at American Express and refreshing their credit card catalog video for, I would say, late 2022, early 2023. So in typical fashion, we'll take a look at Amex as a company, talk about their account work, application rules, the rewards points, redemptions, of course, all the cards themselves. And man, there are a lot of them, so no time to waste. Go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. Now, really quick, before we get in here, these videos are typically, a high-level overview of a full credit card issuer, but for the big ones like Chase or American Express in this case, if you go to the main channel page, we do have a full section dedicated to American Express, so if you click through that, you'll find a much more in-depth, on point of view or opinions on all these topics that we're going to touch on. So I will link that down below for you if you need it or are interested. But with that, let's get and talk about American Express as a company and their history before we get into it. So classic did you know slide here. Now they were founded way back in 1850, so they do go back quite a ways. Now they added the Centurion logo in 1958, so it hasn't been around for nearly as long as I would have thought. And a quick, fun fact here, as of 2021, like the end of last year, they had about 121.7 million cards in circulation. 56.4 million were in the U.S., and those were averaging about a $20,000 annual spend per card. With that, they're pretty popular, as you might have guessed, 1A or 1, depending on how you look at it. So we do know quite a bit about their application rules, so let's talk about that next before we go into rewards points and earnings. So when it comes to American Express, they flip-flop on this rule, for being honest. So you can only have 4 credit cards at a time, but sometimes it's 5. It really depends on what kind of mood they're in. I've seen 4, I've seen 5, I've seen it go back and forth. Now, it is important to note, that is going to count personal and business, but there are credit cards and there are charge cards, and we'll talk about those. Now, for the charge cards, it is a little bit different of a cap. So the green, gold, platinum, that we'll look at our charge cards. That can go up to 10, again, business plus personal. There's also 1 in 5 rules, so one card approval every 5 days and 2 in 90. So 2 card approvals every 90 days. Now, I've also seen people get around this rule as well, but again, these are at least the published rules at this time that we have. So if you've been able to get around them, maybe drop your tricks down below and help some folks out. So with that, like we said, American Express cards kind of break down into 2 separate lanes. Either they earn something called membership reward points, or they earn cash back. Now, these are not interchangeable. It's either one or the other. So when we talk about redemptions here, it'll be obvious because cash will be in the name of the card more often than not when it's a cashback earning card. But if you're talking about cashback, then primarily you're looking at statement credits. Now, they did make some changes a while back where you can redeem, I think, any amount. Before, there used to be a $25 minimum, so that is helpful. Now, membership rewards, you can technically redeem them for cashback, but you wouldn't want to. It's a terrible redemption. You're looking at like 0.6 cents a point. So as a result, they have the Amex Travel Portal and then Transfer Partners. Transfer Partners are going to be the much bigger option. So that's going to be your better option for membership reward points. And so there we have it. That is our high-level overview of American Express. All the other details down below in their full encompassing playlist. Now with that, let's take a look at the cards that they have. So we're going to look at the core Amex cards first. Then we'll go to hotels, airlines, and then kind of the miscellaneous co-branded cards to close this out. Chapters tool will be down below if you want to skip around a bit. But without further ado, let's start off with the personal cards. And of course, batting leadoff is the Cash Magnate card. So again, it's got cash in the name, so you do know it's a cashback earning card. Very simple, no annual fee, multipliers 1.5x back on all purchases. We move up next to the Blue Cash Everyday, kind of the middle child in the cashback lineup. So no annual fee again, 3 back on U.S. supermarkets up to $6,000 a year in spend, then 1x after that. The same setup for online retailers, 3x back up to $6K a year. And the gas stations as well, the same setup there. Classic 1 back on everything else. Now you do get some benefits here. We said at the time there's a Home Chef $15 a month statement credit. And there's a Disney bundle credit, $7 monthly credit after spending $13.99 or more. So Disney streaming pluses, I think ESPN Plus, Hulu, Disney Plus, things like that. Now we have fan favorite Blue Cash Preferred. So this one, $95 annual fee. Sometimes they run promotions where this is waived in year number 1. But multipliers, 6x back on U.S. supermarkets, again up to $6,000 a year. Then 1x after that. 6x on U.S. Streaming subscription service. 3 back on transit. 3 back on gas stations. 1 back on all the purchases. Benefits here, you do carry over the Disney bundle, same as we had on the Blue Cash Everyday card. So now we're going to switch to the Everyday card. So they've taken cash out of it, so I believe these are actually MR earning cards, membership reward cards. So annual fee, nothing here. Multipliers, 2x back on supermarkets, again up to 6K a year, then 1x on everything else. Now the benefit here is if you use your card 20 or more times on purchases in a billing period, you can earn 20% more points on those purchases. And the Everyday Preferred actually follows the same method that's next up, except for a $95 annual fee. So this time, again, 3 back on supermarkets, 2 back on gas stations, 1 back on everything else. The same benefit here, except this time you need to use the card 30 times, and it's a 50% more points earning on those purchases. And it's also important to note, those were credit cards. Now we're taking a look at the Amex charge cards next, and this is going to be first up with the green card. So we have a $150 annual fee, multiplier, 3 back on restaurants, transit, and travel. The clear credit has recently been upgraded to $189 for a clear to cover a clear membership. You get $100 in Lounge Buddy credits, and of course no foreign transaction fees. Now you have arguably one of their best cards, and that is the gold card. So $250 annual fee, multipliers, 4 back on U.S. supermarkets, 4 back on restaurants, 3 back on flights booked directly with airlines or through the Amex travel portal. You are going to get the classic credits here, 120 dining credit. That is good for specific restaurants. Now that is $10 a month and it does not roll over. Same with the Uber Cash credit. You can use it for Uber Rides or Uber Eats. $10 a month, does not roll over, and then no foreign transaction fees. Now we also have the Platinum card, and this is kind of their heavy hitter travel card, their flagship. There are 3 versions of this. There's a Platinum here that we call the Vanilla Platinum. There's a Charles Schwab Platinum and a Morgan Stanley Platinum. So they're all basically the same here, except for the Charles Schwab is going to allow you to cash out MR points at 1.1 cent valuation to a Schwab account. Of course, you have to be a Schwab member to do so. But again, for our purposes, they're all the same aside from that benefit. So again, this is a heavy hitter, coming in at $695, 5x on flights booked directly with airlines or via Amex Travel, capped at $500,000 a year. You are going to get 5x back on hotels booked via Amex Travel, 1 back on everything else. Now the story of this card is definitely the credits, or coupons as they're sometimes called. You get the $200 Uber Cash credit. This time it's $15 a month and $35 in December. Again, does not roll over. $100 Saks Fifth Avenue credit, $50 semi-annually, so for $50 for January through June, and then $50 for the second half of the year, does not roll over. $200 airline fee credit, you get the clear credit as well. Equinox credit, digital entertainment credit, hotel collection credit as well. $155 for Walmart Plus and the classic global entry or TSA pre-check. Again, we have videos on the majority of these credits in that playlist. Benefits, Hilton and Marriott Gold status, Delta Sky Club when flying Delta, Centurion Lounge access, that's like their flagship airport lounges, Priority Pass membership, and Platinum Concierge. And again, same on the Schwab and Morgan Stanley. Now, there is technically a Halo card, if you will, out there called the Centurion or Black card. Now, this one is supposed to be invite only. At one point, they actually had a link where you could request to be invited, but you might want to think twice on it depending on who you are, because there's an initiation fee of $10,000 and then an annual fee of $5,000. So in your first year, it'd be $15,000 just to get this thing. Now, multipliers here, 1 back on all purchases. However, if you spend $5,000 or more on a purchase, then you bumped up to 1.5x. Now, credits here, kind of more the same, but just fancier, I guess. Equinox All Access Gym membership, valued at about $3,000. $1,000 Saks Fifth Avenue credit, still quarterly, quarterly this time was $250 a quarter. You get your clear membership for your family. Global entry, TSA pre benefits, you're getting up to Hilton Diamond this time, Marriott Gold, IHG Platinum, Delta Platinum, private suite at LAX, Priority Pass, Centurion Lounge access, the Sky Club, and Centurion Concierge. So quite a bit there, but again, this is only for a few select folks. Now with that, we're going to roll over to the business side of the house. Again, still core Amex cards, just business cards. And batting leadoff here, we have the Blue Business Plus card. Now, no annual fee here for this one. Multipliers going to be 2x on all purchases, capped at $50,000 to spend a year. Then we have basically its cousin or brother card, if you will, Blue Business Cash. So the first one we just looked at earns MR points. This one just earns cash back because, again, it has cash in the name, but same model there. We have the classic business green. If you ever worked in corporate America, you probably had one of these as one of your corporate cards to expense items. $95 annual fee, 2 back on Amex travel, and 1 back on all purchases. I'm pretty sure this only exists to sell to corporations at scale. The business gold, yeah, not a bad option here. $295 annual fee. You're going to get 4x on the top 2 categories each month, up to $100K in combined spend a year. So your categories: airfare purchased directly from airlines, advertising, select media, online TV or radio, purchases made directly from like tech providers or software companies, gas stations, restaurants, and shipping. So this is a fan favorite, folks who need some optionality, and it is good for personal use as well, as some of these categories are kind of interchangeable. We also have the Business Plum card, one of the most misunderstood cards in the game. Annual fee of $250. Benefits here: 1.5x on the portion of your balance that you pay within 10 days of your statement closing date, and you get up to 60 days to pay without interest. Of course, you must make the minimum payment. Now, this card really exists for business owners who want to have a warehouse line of credit in their pocket, really, and who could really make use of that 60-day window to pay. So we also have a business version of the Platinum card, which I actually do like a little bit better than the personal. Now, it does come in at a $695 annual fee. Multipliers almost the same: 5x on flights, 1.5x on business category, and purchases over $5K, then 1 back on everything else. Benefits: your credits. I do like this a little bit better because, again, you're going to get a $400 Dell credit, $360 Indeed credit, $120 for wireless, $150 for Adobe Creative credit, $200 airline credit stays, Clear membership stays, 35% airline bonus when paying with points, Priority Pass, Centurion Lounge, the Sky Club, TSA Pre-Global Entry, Marriott Gold, Hilton Gold. So I just find these credits, especially the Dell and the wireless credit, a little bit easier to use. But that is the business side for American Express, at least their core cards. Now we're going to take a look at the airlines next, and the airline is really just consistent of Delta here. So first of all, we have the Delta Sky Miles Blue, the entry-level card here, so no annual fee, multipliers, 2 back on Delta purchases, 2 back on restaurants. You do get 20% back on in-flight purchases, and there are no foreign transaction fees. You have the Delta Sky Miles Gold. Comes in at a $99 annual fee. Sometimes this is waived in year number 1. Multipliers: 2 back on Delta purchases, 2 on restaurants, 2 on supermarkets, and 1 back on everything else. Benefits here: $100 Delta flight credit with $10K in spend a year. Main cabin, 1 boarding, no foreign transaction fees, of course, and your first check bag will be free. Now, they also have the Sky Miles Platinum cards, like the middle child of the Delta lineup. You're talking about a $250 annual fee. Multipliers, more of the same here: 3 back on Delta, 3 on hotels, 2 at restaurants and supermarkets, and 1 back on everything else. This time you get a little bit different of benefits. You have some ability to help get some status boosts depending on how much spend you want to put on the card. With $25K in spend, you could earn a few MQMs. You also get that companion certificate, which is very helpful in year number 2 and beyond, and then you can get into the Sky Club for $39 if you really wanted to. Now we have the big boy, which is the Delta Sky Miles Reserve. So you're coming in at a $550 annual fee, 3 back on Delta and 1 back on everything else. You do get Delta Sky Club this time, plus Centurion Lounge. You do get an anniversary companion certificate in year number 2 and beyond. And besides that, the big thing is going to be those status boosts, those medallion waivers for using your card, and spend boost if you use your card. That's really going to help you get status if you're that person. Now, we have almost some mirror images of these cards. We'll take a look at the business version. So we'll run through this fairly quickly. But we have the Business Delta Gold card to start off. Again, $99 annual fee. Multipliers: 2 on Delta, 2 on advertising, 2 on shipping, 2 on restaurants, 1 back on everything else. And then the benefits are going to be pretty similar to its personal counterpart. Business Delta Platinum, same deal here. It's like same exact deal. So basically the business version of that. So we don't think we need to spend too much time on this one as well. Again, the big thing here is going to be Companion Pass and then the MQM boosts if it benefits you. And then the Business Delta Reserve, again, I think this is almost a carbon copy of the personal one. So again, not going to spend too much time on this one. But again, if you're someone who can help you, is close to getting status, then this card could come in handy. So with that, that's the hotel cards, or that's the airline cards they have. Now we're going to look at hotel cards. This is going to be the Hilton and Marriott lineup. So first up, we have Hilton Honors. This is the entry-level Hilton card, so no annual fee, of course. 7 back on Hilton, 5 on groceries and restaurants, 5 on gas, and 3 on everything else. Silver status, which isn't much, and then you could get gold if you spend $20K a year on it. Middle child of the lineup is the Hilton Surpass. This is a pretty good sweet spot for most people in my opinion. $95, 12 back on Hilton, 6 on restaurants and groceries, 6 on gas, 3 on everything else. You do get gold status, which is pretty good, and then you have diamond if you spend $40K a year. Priority pass, 10 visits a year, and you can get a weekend reward night when you spend $15,000 a year on the card. In addition to that, we have the heavy hitter, and this is a big fan favorite card. Annual fee $450. Again, multipliers, you step up to 14 back on Hilton, 7 back on travel, 7 on restaurants, 3 back on everything else. You get diamond status this time, weekend award night when you renew your card every year. $250 airline fee credit, priority pass, and then $100 on property credit as well. There's also the business version, Business Hilton Honors. This one's also not too bad, so 12x on Hilton purchases, 6 back on gas, wireless phone services, and shipping, 6 back on restaurants, flights booked via Amex, and car rentals, 3 back on everything else. Again, this kind of mirrors the Surpass a little bit. Weekend night after you spend $15,000 on the card, you could get another one of $60,000 and spend 10 priority pass visits in gold, but you can spend your way to diamond if you wanted to. Now that brings us to Marriott. This is a newer card here, the Marriott Bonvoy Bevy. So $250 annual fee, 6 back on Marriott, 4 back on dining, 4 back on groceries, 2 back on everything else. Gold Elite, 15 Elite Night credits. I think it helps you get towards status. You can earn 1,000 Bonvoy points with each stay. Free 50,000 night certificate with 15,000 spend a year on the card, and no foreign transaction fees here as well. Now we have the Marriott Bonvoy Brilliant. So out of all the Marriott cards, because Chase has some Marriott cards as well, this is one of the heavy hitters. So $650 annual fee, multiplier, 6 back on Marriott, 3 back on dining and flights, 2 on everything else. Platinum Elite status, $25 a month dining credit, anniversary free night up to 85,000 point redemption. $100 Marriott property credit, earned choice award with $60,000 a year in spend, so you could choose between 5 sweet nights, $750 off a bed from Marriott boutiques if you just really love their mattresses, or free night 85,000 point certificate. Priority pass, 25 elite night credits towards status, and then into classic TSA pre global entry. Of course, there is a Marriott business card here, so this one's actually pretty good as well. $125 annual fee, 6 back on Marriott purchases, 4 on restaurants, gas stations, wireless, phone services, and shipping, 2 back on everything else. Anniversary nights, 35,000 points on card renewal, gold status, free night award if you spend 60,000 on the card within a calendar year. 15 elite night credits towards status, premium on-property internet access, which is nice, I guess. You just wish that'd be included. Bonvoy Air plus card transfer program and 7% room rate discounts. Now, to close this out, we have 3 kind of co-branded cards to look at really quick here. So the first one is the Amazon business card, so multipliers here, 3 back or 60-day terms on Amazon purchases up to $120K a year, 2 back on restaurants, gas stations, and wireless phone services. And you don't have to have an Amazon Prime membership for this one, but it's Big Brother cards you do, and it's no annual fee, but a Prime membership these days is about $139. This is going to be the same exact card, you just punch up to 5x back on the multipliers. And then lastly, we have the Lowe's Business Rewards, which is not a bad card, really. 2 back on restaurants and office supply stores and wireless phone services. 2 back on Lowe's, which seems low, but you do get 5% off all Lowe's purchases and Lowe's Pro services. And man, that was a lot of cards, but there we have it, guys. That is the full Amex lineup as of, again, late 2022, early 2023. So again, final thoughts here really quick because we did go fast. Now, I love and hate Amex cards. I think they have a lot of good cards like the gold. Even the platinum is not my favorite card. I had it and I canceled it, but for as far as travel and airport lounge access goes, I think it's pretty good. The real thing here is I like the value of membership reward points and the transfer partners that Amex has. That makes them really strong. My only real gripe with their cards is that it's very expensive to combine a lot of them, right? One of the Amex trifectas, would be the platinum, the gold, and or the green. You could sometimes make the argument for all 3, plus a blue business plus. At least that one has no annual fee, but you can see the price gets really out of hand very fast. Plus, there aren't really any downgrade paths on the charge card side, which is the ones people want the most. So for me, that's the hang up with Amex. Their cards, are good for the right person. Now, again, I've said it before, I find the credits and the coupons a little bit much to deal with myself, but again, Amex has always been going for a target demographic. So the thing I would say is, sit down and make sure you can actually use those and it doesn't, change your behavior too much to use them, and you're, calculating your value that you're getting appropriately. But again, the gold card is an easy one for most people because it's got those high multipliers on, our everyday categories. You're either going to a restaurant or going to the grocery store to eat, and we all have to eat. Now, on the co-branded side, I think this is really where Amex shines. I think the Hilton and the Delta cards are pretty good because of what they offer and because of the optionality that you have. For Hilton, I think the Surpass is a really good sweet spot for most people. You don't have to travel all the time. It's still going to get those, 10 passes to airport lounges, which is pretty good, plus gold status. That's a nice sweet spot. But again, there are people who have multiple Aspire cards who know how to use those weekend nights as well. And the same with Delta. I think the Delta multipliers need to be punched up a little bit, but if you know how to use the companion pass, then that plus a check bag if you're flying with a player too, can make the card, especially the Platinum, which again is a sweet spot, the Delta Platinum, a sweet spot for most people over there. So in the future, I would really like to see Amex kind of get better at cash back. They seem to be, concerned with, people taking advantage or giving out too much cash back because all their cash back cards have this cap, this spend cap on them, where we don't see that as much with other cards, the rotating category cards that other issuers are capped to a degree, but, I would say it'd be nice to see Amex kind of uncap that a little bit. There are a lot of 3X cards out there that don't have a spend cap, which I think would be somewhat comparable to those. So I would like to see them focus on cashback a little bit more. And then I would say, the last part I'll end on is I really do wish they would just combine the points currency to be all the membership reward points, and you can cash it out for 1 cent a point or use it for travel if you prefer, not have it split. I think that would give them their setup a lot more optionality that other issuers have. But overall, even though I've canceled a lot of my Amex cards, even I have to admit, American Express is either 1 or 1A, depending on how you look at their battle and rivalry with Chase. So anyways, guys, that's been a look at the Amex cards. I'm sure we'll be refreshing this video again next year, hopefully, because that means improvements, hopefully, and more new cards. So with that, if you liked it, drop me a thumbs up down below. Of course, if you found it interesting, consider subscribing to the channel. Again, posting content just like this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Of course, right back here every Sunday with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. Again, question for you, sound off down below. Let me know where you rank Amex at in the hierarchy of card issuers, what your favorite Amex cards are, or what your best strategy is. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this one. As always, thank you so much for watching, and talk to you very soon in the next one.